Hey guys, what's up? It's just Connor, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about, or probably going to title this video something along the lines of my honest experience being a high ticket closer or an inbound closer, or getting involved into high ticket sales. Now, there's a very specific reason why I've put that in quotation marks. I'm going to explain why here in a minute, but a lot of people that might be watching this video might be researching more specifically high ticket closing. You might have seen an ad on how you can get involved into high ticket closing. My goal with this video is to give you a very clear understanding of what the expectations can be like, and really kind of adjust those. It's not a get rich quick scheme, right? It's not a pyramid scheme. It's not a scam. It's very, very real. And I've done it myself. I'm going to show you my very real, raw and honest experience of what it's been like the past 4 years, with everything documented, as we'll see here in a second, right? But I guess the reason why I use the word, remote closing or high ticket closing or high ticket sales is that's unfortunately the word that this industry has kind of associated with, becoming a remote sales professional, right? And the reason why I don't want to be associated with that word or my students is an inbound closer or a high ticket closer is often associated with being a beginner, very unskilled, and usually pretty lazy. And that's by one of the really big guys in the space who taught you how to become a high ticket closer and kind of propelled that narrative for a good while there. So there's a very clear difference between the two, a high ticket closer and a remote sales professional, right? Now, before I go ahead and dive in to my story, my experience, and what's been like the past 4+ years is, again, I want to assure you that if you're doing your research on can this business model work and does it work, it absolutely does, right? And in fact, I think it's the best place to start out, especially if you want to start your own business. I think it's where people can be most successful by learning an actual tangible skill that will not only serve you if you want to create your own business in the future, but will serve you continuously, rather than if you do just e-commerce or affiliate marketing, all the other business models out there to make money online. You're not walking away with many tangible skills. You can actually be more valuable to the market and make more money, right? So with that said, let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to share with you exactly what my journey was like, step by step. And you can really see real, raw, honest, all documented from start to finish. Okay, so if you don't know who I am by now, my name is Connor. I'm based out of Australia. I'm filming this video from my hometown here in Tasmania, in a very small town called Bridgeport, right? Now, this is pretty much my journey. So before I got into high ticket sales or like the online industry or started doing high ticket closing, if you want to call it that, is I was working in Bunnings. So that's a retail store here in Australia. It's very similar or close to Walmart over there in the US. And it was about 30 Australian dollars like an hour as a casual, right? So that's relatively around, let's say, 23 US dollars, I would say, right? Pretty good, right? Not bad pay, especially for an 18-year-old. And basically, I'd already invested in a program to teach me how to learn how to get good at sales, right? I'd already invested in a mentor and a coach, but this situation put basically the last nail in the coffin. Now, this is obviously me in my my Bunnings uniform going to work, by the way. But there was a situation where, long story short, there was two shoplifters, as tall as Michael Jordan, tatted to the neck, buff as Arnold. They walked up to the checkout. They clearly looked dodgy, and I decided to not pull them off for risk for being put in danger, because why would I, right? In a retail job and working for another company, I'm not going to risk my life or risk getting injured, right, or getting assaulted. But long story short, one of the team members I work with told me to tell management. They did. I got in trouble for doing nothing and not intervening, and I almost got fired. And to me, for that moment, I realized that I hated that my income and my career, my livelihood was in control of somebody else and almost could have been gone within a day, right? If that's how I felt living with my parents at the time, because I was 18 years old, I couldn't imagine what it would be like living on my own with a mortgage to pay. So that was quite concerning for me. And right as I finished high school, I came across a Facebook ad, maybe something similar to like what you've seen from a random guy saying you can make money with high ticket sales and become a high ticket closer. And before I knew it, he outbound dialed me. So he called me without a scheduled call and I was making fun of him with my girlfriend at the time, kind of like taking the piss because I didn't really understand what was going on at the time, and I had no really great understanding of the industry or sales in general. And I ended up on a call with him within a few hours, and after an hour on the phone with him, I was over the edge of my bed, literally shaking with nervousness as he closed me with the line, "Are you going to be a man or are you going to be the boy? Or are you going to be the man or the boy?" Whatever way he said it, right? Which is very funny thinking about it now. But after objection handling I want to think about objection for about 30 minutes, I put down a $500 deposit for the total $7,500 coaching program, and I was on my way to become a high-ticket closer, right, or learning the skill of sales. Now, the skills that I learned in the program weren't really that helpful at all. In fact, I didn't really learn any great sales skills that I ever used. The main thing I learned in that program is that everything is your responsibility, only you. Everything in your life is there because you manifested it or because you allowed it, right? And that's a very, very, very key takeaway for everyone that's watching this, right? If you don't have what you want in your life, then it's purely because of you and only you, right? It may not be your fault, but it's definitely your problem. Now, after about 6 months of intense daily work, commitment, many role play hours, and role play is essentially practicing the skill of sales, I finally landed an interview with an influencer that I bought a book from only about a year ago, right? So it was very, very exciting, and, you know, obviously getting to meet the guy behind the book, which is obviously really cool. Now, I got a role as an appointment setter, right? Commission only. So that was a very, very hard and long few months, right? And so appointment setter, long story short, if you don't understand, is someone who basically creates opportunity for a salesperson to then sell, right? So this might be calls booked on the calendar, whatever that might be. And that's basically what I was doing. Now, every morning I'd wake up and I'd crawl out of bed to my shitty workstation, right? Felt awful every time. It was, like 4 to 4:30 in the morning, cold, dark, gross. And I'd plug in my AirPods and start to cold call book leads for business owners who hadn't opted in to be called. They'd just bought a book, right? Potentially labeling them as a business owner, right? And that was tough. That was really, really rough, especially because I didn't have the right skills. And after dialing from about 4:30 in the morning to 9:30 or 10 in the morning, because I was dialing in US work hours because I was in Australia, so opposite sides of the world, I would then go to work after my dialing session for the remainder of the day, all right? I didn't make $1 for months, but then slowly but surely I became good, learning everything by repetition and failure after failure. This doesn't have to be the same story for you. If you're looking to get involved inside of this industry, you just need the right mentor, the right skills, the right training, the right network, and you can shortcut all of this. I just kind of was left with a boat with no oar to steer, and I just went straight down the rapids without really any help. Like I was just kind of figuring out myself, okay? Now then, slowly but surely, I started booking more calls every hour. I was on the phone, so I became more efficient. And then I started to make some money. So that's when I made my first dollar online. So $300 from Darko, a fitness company, for setting a call. Shout out to Darko. As you can see there, 20th of March, 2020. So that's over 3 years ago now, right? And I was in the game training and doing all that type of stuff much earlier than that, right? So I got started back in 2019, okay? I then got a call out of nowhere by the business owner, and that was my mentor, and that is my mentor, saying that he'd let go of the man that hired me, right? So that was Oliver, so shout out to Oliver. And he asked me if I wanted to start closing. I said, of course, sure, that sounds great. That's exactly what I've been trying to do for the past couple months. Now, my first call was absolutely awful. I think we all remember our first, right? Her name was Kirsty, and she was an accountant. She gave me a thing about objection, and I went back to Ben, the business owner, so my mentor, and said, oh yeah, it's likely to go through, but she obviously didn't go through. Considering a thing about objection doesn't mean a sale, hence my lack of skill and lack of understanding, okay? I then became fairly solid. and I was earning anywhere between 5 and 7K per month because the call volume was slow and I was on the wrong offer with the wrong opportunity. But I didn't have the right skills and knowledge to know that, right? Now from there, I decided to create a post because I thought I was a killer at sales. I thought I was the best because I made a few sales here and there, which was obviously simply not the case. And I thought I'd attempt to have a go at starting my own sales coaching business, right? Now, I got together with some friends one afternoon who was trying to get involved in the online space, right? They were starting their own fitness coaching business online. And I wrote a post on the 2nd of November, 2020, as you can see there. I did this in an attempt to get a coaching client. Right, lo and behold, I got a message from a multi-seven-figure business owner in the real estate investing space, which is pretty crazy. You can see down here on the left, this is him sending a message. And he messaged me just from a post that I made, which was pretty crazy. Somehow he was in my friends list. I then booked a discovery sales call with him the following morning, and we spoke for about 15 minutes, not expecting much. I thought there's no way that this is actually happening. And just that was when I discovered he was obviously a multi-millionaire, and the business that he runs does a touch above 7 figures. And then we booked in a sales call, right, together the following day with him and his sales guy, whose name was Sam. Now, overnight, I created all these models, intellectual property overnight, because I didn't really even have a real business. I had literally no idea what I was doing. I was just kind of doing it as it comes, right? Long story short, by the end of 60 minutes, Sam, the sales guy, had to take some sales calls, and it was just me and Jacob. I said, hey man, it's $3,000. He said, cool. Can you send me an invoice off to your accounts team? I'll authorize it, get you paid, and let's start. And to me, this was like I just created fire. Pretty much, right? You can imagine a 19-year-old. I ended the call running around the room, my parents' house, jumping up and down with amazement, because I just asked myself, did I actually just do that? Right? Did I actually just take something that didn't exist and just spawn it into reality? Right? This was crazy to me because this was the next step of I truly just created something from nothing. And that's a huge breakthrough that I had. So I was calling up my mom. I tried to get her to help me create an agreement and figure out how to write up an invoice for $3,000 the correct way, right? We figured it out. We sent it off, and then it was the waiting game. Honestly, could barely sleep. And when I woke up at 6 a.m. the following morning, I genuinely couldn't believe my eyes. So as a 19-year-old, I'd closed a $3,000 for my own, or $3,000 deal for my own business in my bank account, right? That was a life-changing moment for sure. You can see the invoice or the confirmation there on Stripe, right? Now, I began consulting with their team, and within 2 consulting sessions, they had a record cash collected month, even though I had no idea what I was doing, right? Instead of doing deals over 28 to 30 days, I just said, hey guys, why don't we just try and get the sale to happen within 24 hours, right? Instantly skyrocketed the business, and then they completely ghosted me, right? The business owner didn't respond to my messages. I'd basically earned $1,500 an hour for 2 hours of work, and I thought, great, I delivered a great service, but now I'm back to square one, right? And then I got a text from the business owner saying, hey bro, are you around for lunch? And we actually went to a place called Barn Boogle. There's a really, really nice restaurant up here, which I'll show you a screenshot that I've got here of the event that happened here in a second. But yeah, it was a really, really nice place. And so of course, I just didn't expect to hear back from this guy, and I accepted. And I walked into a really fancy restaurant, like I mentioned, in Barn Boogle, to be greeted with a very, very tall man from head to toe in really nice clothes. And to me, golfing clothes at the time were nice clothes. He took me to my seat and he went to go grab us some drinks. You can see here, I took a photo of this because I knew that someday this photo would be relevant. Right? I knew this would all play into a story that someday I could share with other people, right? And hopefully, as you're listening to this, you can let this inspire you. But the previous night, before I met with him, I had sat down and studied a 6-hour online course that I found about sales management. I had no idea the night before, but it just shows you that you can really create something from nothing. And I told my mum before I went, and more importantly, that I would walk away, that I would walk away from this meeting with a $10,000 sales management consulting deal, or I'd close a sales management position, right? Shortly after, he agreed on the terms, and I was now managing a sales team of $1 million company at 20 years old, right? Which is pretty insane. I then came into a team of 2, ended up letting go of a 30-year-old who was apparently a multimillionaire doing sales on the side of the company for no reason. So he was gone pretty quickly. And you can imagine pretty weird, 20-year-old firing a 30-year-old was very strange. I then hired 3 more salespeople. And then in less than 4 months, I had taken that same company from $120K per month in cash collected to $350K per month in cash collected with the same amount of volume the original 2 salespeople had, right? I was earning some pretty good money. I think I even hit a $25K month in straight commissions at one point, and that was pretty outstanding for a 20-year-old, right, at the time. Now, during this time as well, I had moved from Tasmania, so that was my hometown, to the Gold Coast in Australia. And I was coming back to Tasmania to consult a business in person for the first time in real life. And we'd actually gone out for a team lunch when I got there after I was consulted with a team on intellectual property and helping them build the business. And we're all sitting around and laughing, right? One of the lead researchers for the team turned and asked me, Connor, how old do you think I am, right? And everyone turned and looked at me anxiously because he obviously looked older than he was, and I didn't want to be rude, right? I guessed 31 and he was 37, right? And everybody was laughing because I made the mistake. But I basically turned around and I made the mistake of saying, okay, cool, your turn. How old do you think I am, right? Now, everyone guessed one by one, including the researcher. They all thought I was 28, 29, 30 years old, right? And I just responded with 20. And I watched Jacob, so the business owner, the founder of the company's face go just completely pale. Right, safe to say, he sent me an email shortly after 2 weeks later, kicking me off the team for no reason at all. Team was crushing it. Team was doing very, very well. And we got some amazing results. But I was booted off the team for absolutely no reason, right? That's fine. He realized he was paying some 20-year-old a multiple 6-figure salary. Life's unfair. I shouldn't have laid down my cards too early, right? Shit happens. Then moving forwards from there, I then went on to selling a business opportunity with a now great friend of mine, Zane Basic. And it was helping people make money online, becoming a digital marketing agency, right? So I made some good money there, right? I then decided to go all in on a mentor to teach me sales training, right? And at this point, I was between rentals, so I spent $20,000 of my own money, to do the highest level of sales training I could find while taking sales calls on a blow-up mattress in, at the time, a stranger's apartment. So it's pretty wild. I've got a photo of that somewhere here, but I don't think I can find that or dig that up. But yeah, I was, sleeping on a mattress that deflated overnight. I didn't have a place to stay, right? A very good now friend of mine, or friends of mine, Laura and Liv, let me stay at their place at the time. And it was between where I was trying to find a rental as a 20-something-year-old with no rental experience. So from there, I then became insanely good at sales, right? I practiced like a madman. I acted as if I was going to die if I didn't get good at sales, long story short, which obviously wasn't the case, but I took it very seriously. And every single day I was practicing new skills in front of the mirror, on walks to the shop and in the car, and any chance I could practice and learn, I did. I was obsessed with the craft. Between that time, I'd sold a few things. So I'd sold cybersecurity certification, business coaching for tradesmen, business opportunity, more business coaching on top of that, digital marketing. The list just goes on and on, right? I've sold a lot of things. And fast forward to July in 2022. So first commission in 2020 to 2022, I was making anywhere from $5,000 to $9,000 per week in commissions, selling business coaching with my mentor's brother, living in Bali, all right? And now I look forward to teaching others to do the same. So you can see the screenshot here. This is obviously one of the greater side of weeks. So I mentioned 5 to 9K usually a week on that offer that I was working on. And you can see that's targeted on a week option there, right? Now, why did I show you all that? And the reason I wanted to show you that is because there's probably a lot of people out there online, whether or not you found me through my Instagram, whether or not you found me through a friend, where you might have found me, or even just through a YouTube organic search. I want you to know that making money online is not some impossible reality, and it is absolutely real, and you can absolutely do it. You just need the right mentor, the right skills, the right training, and the right guidance, right? Back when I first got started, I unfortunately made the mistake of selecting the wrong mentor. However, if I didn't work with that mentor, I wouldn't be where I am today, right? If I didn't back myself, if I didn't invest in myself, I would be still working in retail. I may have gone to university and studied a degree and paid all this money for a degree that I probably wouldn't have ever used. And I wouldn't be enjoying life as much as I do now, right? I'm ecstatic with the life I have right now. I'm able to travel wherever I want, do what I want. I don't have a boss, right? I have built my own systems. I am geographically independent. I'm financially independent. I can do what I want. And I think for anyone that's watching this that wants to really believe that it's real, I'm here to tell you that it is. And I'm a real guy that's done this, right? And that's why I do what I do now, which is helping people, get a mentor, get a right structure, get the right strategy, so that you actually can get to where you want to go, right? Because there's so much false information out there or misinformation out there, especially with my industry, of saying that you can make 15K a month in 30 days, which is totally not true, right? As long as you have the right expectations and I guess realize that if you want financial independence, if you want time freedom, if you want geographical freedom, if you want all these luxuries, you have to realize that it's going to take a great amount of commitment and sacrifice to get there. And my story is much harder than it should be. It can be much easier for you just if you get the right guidance, the right training, the right mentoring, right? Because I really wish that I had someone like myself 4 or 5 years ago. And that's why I've started what I do at the Remote Sales Academy. And no, before you ask, it's not $40,000 to get started, right? It's actually much less than that, okay? So with that said, the video has already been long enough. And hopefully after seeing that story, I guess you're somewhat inspired, right? If you know that you want something different for yourself, if you know that you're not meant for the normal path, take that leap of faith. Book a call with me and the team, right? Have a chat, right? Because I'm more than happy to help you and guide you the best way that I think you should go. And if it's not a fit, and if it's not something that I think you should pursue or continue with, I'll tell you, right? Because I don't get very far by not having integrity, and integrity is extremely important to me, okay? So with that said, guys, hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you got somewhat inspired to do what you want to do, right? And pursue what you want to pursue, and realize that just because it's not real just yet doesn't mean that it can't be, okay? So with that said, guys, hope you have an amazing week. Hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video.